everyone. Today we are moving to discuss about one of the major plant disease, that is blast of paddy. As we know that the paddy, which is otherwise known as the rice, rice, which is a real grain, and the scientific name of this rice is, as we know that it is the Raisa sativa in the case of Asian rice. When it comes in African rice, it is named as Raisa glabrima, which is, as we know that what is the importance of rice in our daily diet, which is consumed by every human as a staple food, or which is the major staple food in Asia. The rice is the milled rice is known as the paddy. The blast disease of paddy, which is one of the major cause of loss of rice, which is a fungal disease which is prevalent all over the world, which is present in all over the world, and which causes the rice production loss, like countries like Japan, India, Taiwan, and the US, and which is more severe in these areas with high humidity and rainfall. As we know that this blast disease of paddy, which is caused by a fungus, so that the fungus is more grow as the climate in humidity, or which is having rainfall. The losses due to these diseases may be up to 90% of total production. In India, which is mostly common in southern parts, particularly in coastal areas where the humidity and the rainfall is high. Since it is a fungal disease which is directly connected to the rainfall and the humidity. The major symptoms of this blast disease, which is almost is a foliage disease. What do you mean by foliage disease? Which is mostly affected for leaves. Apart from this foliage disease, the symptoms also occurs in other plant parts such as leaf, blade, sheath, petiole, rachis, stem, which is affected all over the plant. The major symptom is the brownish lesion and spores are formed on leaf blade, and then come to leaf sheath, gums, and panicles. So what do you mean by the gums? The stem-like structure to the rice is known as the gums. Okay, since the rice is a monocot, you cannot get a strong stem like that of a dicot or the trees, which is having a stem-like structure which is known as the gums, which is almost present in the other cases like the case of bamboos. All these are, we cannot tell that it is as a stem, they are known as the gums. Okay, and the panicles means the inflorescence of the rice plant, which is known as the panicles. So we know that once it is affected to the panicles, which leads to the loss of rice, or which may be affected to the rice, because the flowers which become the fruits, isn't it? So that once it is affected, the inflorescence means which is affected to the fruits, that means which is affected to the rice. The spores are spindle shaped, which means they are elongated with grey or white central parts and brownish or reddish borders. The spores having a typical characters like which is spindle shaped, and they are having the central part as grey or white color, and the borders are demarcated as brownish color. As the disease progresses, the spores enlarges, and they are formed on rachis of the mature inflorescence. And then the small brown or black spots which on ear heads. What do you mean by ear heads? It is the fruit slopes, that is known as the ear heads. So that that affected on the fruits or the seeds also. And sometimes the shriveled comes, or when it affects the comes, which means the comes are diseased or they are shriveled, and the comes were covered with fluffy mycelium of the pathogen, since it is a fungal disease, so that which is covered with a mycelium of the pathogen. What do you mean by mycelium? Which is the part of fungus or the strands of fungus, so that the gums were covered with fluffy mycelium of the pathogen. As we know that when we keep the bread for a long time during the rainy season, you can see that there is white patches. These white patches are termed as the mycelium of the fungus. Okay, likewise, here when it is affected the gums, they are causing the patches of the pathogen, that is the fluffy mycelium. And other symptoms like bluish patches on the neck or the stem, and if the infection occurred before the grain formation, the panicles drops and no grain formation. So the infection can be affected either before the grain formation or after the grain formation. If the infection occurred before the grain formation, what happened there? The inflorescence drops and there is no grain formation. And if it is occurred after the grain formation, what happened? The so resulted grains become small, whitish and chuffy. And advanced stages of diseases, there is necrotic rotting of neck and falling of the ear sucker, or the total loss of the plant itself. The plants become stunted in growth and sometimes led to the complete death of the plant. So you can see in the pictures the several symptoms like as I told you, the blast disease of PADDY is a foliage disease. In that case, you can see in this pictures, and here these are the leaves, and these leaves having the central white parts, and they are demarked by brown or reddish color borders. And when it is affected to the inflorescence, you can see that the inflorescence become diseased. And if the disease occur on the mature inflorescence, you can see that the grains formed are chaffy grains. Okay, or the diseased grains you can see in these pictures. And then next we are moving to discuss about the causal organism. So which organism causing the blast disease? I told you it is a fungal infection. The causal organism is the Pedicularia oryza, which is come under Deuteromyces. So you can see that the class Deuteromyces, which is the otherwise known as the fungus imperfecti, which means the sexual reproduction in this class is totally absent, or means the reproduction is by either by vegetative reproduction or by the sexual reproduction. The sexual mode of reproduction is completely absent in the class of Deuteromyces. There are several physiological strains of Pedicularia oryza are present, and these strains which are differ in their ability to infect the different varieties of rice, which means different strains affects different varieties of rice. And what is the toxins name by the causal organism Pedicularia oryza, which is nothing, which is the pedicularin and picolinic acid. These are the two toxins caused by or produced by the causal organism Pedicularia oryza. These toxins inhibit the growth of the plant. So you can see the picture of this Pedicularia oryza on the right side, and that they are reproduced by conidia. This conidial structure is you can see in this picture also. And what is the disease cycle, or what is the life cycle of this pathogen? Which survives in the collateral host present in the field, which means not only the rice plants, they are present on the other host or other plants also. Under the favorable weather conditions, they promote the production of conidia. I told you these since the pedicularia oryza is a deuteromycete which cannot undergo any sexual mode of reproduction, they are reproduced only by the sexual mode of reproduction, that is by the conidia formation. So this conidia, Jesus was, so the conidia help in the rapid spread of the disease. And how can we control this disease? One is the foliar spray of fungicides, and the other one is the application of Bordeaux mixture. And in other ways, we can use the fungicides like Hinozen and Blitox, and they are spraying on seeds, seedbeds, tillers, or neck emerging state. Okay, and sometimes we can use the antibiotics such as blastazidine, and that also found to be effective. And sometimes treat with organomercuric compounds, which again reducing the fungal spore load on the surface of seeds, which means they are restricting the conidia. And another practice is field sanitation practice, which can also reduce the secondary spread of disease to the next cycle or the next growing stage. So these are the control measures to reduce or in order to prevent the blast disease of paddy. One is the foliar spray of the fungicides. Apart from the fungicides, we are using antibiotics, Bordeaux mixture, organomercuric fungicides, and field sanitation practice. These are the control measures. So that is about the disease blast of paddy. I hope all of you understand what it is, and thank you.